welcome back to Studio F. We're on Fast Times Willy B. We'll be reviewing Pet Sematary. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell.
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I've got my mom back. It's Mother's Day, and we're going to do this again. And today, we're going to step back to 1989 and review Pet Sematary.
Perfect movie for Mother's Day.
Yeah, really is. Now, there's a reason we selected Pet Sematary. You told me to send you a list of movies that you felt had, a meaning. And Pet Sematary, I remember you showed me, and I started reading the book because you told me how good the book was.
Yeah.
This is actually the only Stephen King book that I finished, and I do want to reread it, just like what you were talking about before. It's something I want to reread, have it back there, so got to get to it after this.
It's the only Stephen King book I've ever read.
Really?
Yeah, and I loved it. I don't know why I haven't read more.
Yeah. We also have Jude here. Say hi, Jude.
Hi.
But, yeah, so Pet Sematary, it's funny, too, because early in mine and Rosie's relationship, I showed her, this was like the first movie we watched as like a date night, and it was because she had never seen it, and I was like, you've never seen Pet Sematary? So, I know, not a great date night either, but, it's just one of those movies that's very memorable in my life, and I do really enjoy it. Director-wise, we got Mary Lambert in the director's chair. Cast-wise, we've got Dale Midkiff, who plays Lewis. We've got Fred Gwynn, who's probably the most recognizable actor in this movie. He plays Judd. He's also in The Munsters. He's in My Cousin Vinny. He's the judge.
Yeah. So
he's probably the most recognizable. We've also got Miko Hughes, which in the realm of horror, he might be the most recognizable now that I think about it, because he's also in New Nightmare. He's Gage in this one. He's in another one that I'm drawing a blank on, but I don't think I've ever seen him act after like the age of 8, but he was in all of the horror movies as a kid. So Miko Hughes, definitely a big name in the horror genre. And then Denise Crosby plays Rachel, amongst others. But we'll start with the good, and most of this movie is in the good for me. But where do we want to start?
I don't know.
I think this movie starts in such a good way, because it really creates that eerie feeling with the song is called The Pet Sematary, where the kids are going like and you're kind of getting like the opening credits, but you're going through the cemetery and you're getting your first shots of like what this set looks like, and it just creates the atmosphere of this film is created in that in the opening credits, and you feel that feeling most of this movie. Because they just did a good job of creating it and carrying it on throughout the film.
Definitely.
It's a movie that its fear is built on tension, and they do a good job of it. I love all of the characters, and I think the cast too I liked a lot. I thought the acting was really good.
I really like Lewis. He was good.
I was gonna say Midkiff and Gwen were always my standouts.
Yeah.
I watched a video after rewatching it to kind of just get a little extra details, and the guy was talking about, he's like, I just want a relationship that Lewis and Judd have, he sees him, goes across the street and drinks beers. And the whole movie, I mean, they have that relationship, and those are some of the best scenes where they're just sitting by a fire or sitting on the porch, drinking a couple beers, talking about, and you get some cool Easter eggs in their conversations. The one time they're talking about rabies and how the dog a couple towns over killed 4 people. That was Cujo.
Yeah.
And then the Judd tells him about the taking the human up to Micmac Cemetery and all of that, and how it was the general's son and all of that, and they ended up making Pet Sematary Bloodlines, which is based on that story. So that's a cool one too. But yeah, those are the 2 standouts for me. But I did love the entire cast.
Mm-hmm.
I think the kids were great. Once again, Miko Hughes.
Oh, you mentioned Doc too.
Yeah.
Shining.
Yeah. They call Lewis Doc, and that's paying homage to Danny, who's called Doc in The Shining. So it's cool just to see all the Stephen King connective tissue amongst these
I think
movies.
it's cool that he's in his movies too. You know?
Yeah. He's the he runs the funeral for this one.
Yeah.
The those conversations are fun. They're probably the most lighthearted part of the movie, except for the one where he's explaining what that cemetery does. That one's a little creepy, but.
Yeah.
There's a couple, scenes where, like, this is where you're getting your mellow part of this movie, and that's about it. Because the rest is just tension. But to me, it's an interesting story. And obviously, the book is a very good book. And I think this movie does a really good job. It's not, identical, but it is a good adaptation for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard with Stephen King. His books are so much. And, I mean, the first time I saw the movie, I read the book first, and it was all in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I literally would put the book down sometimes at night because I was scared.
Yeah.
Like, reading a book scared me so bad.
Yeah. It's a good adaptation though. From the start to the finish. I mean, I love the scene where Judd takes the family down and explains what the pet cemetery is, and that's basically Ellie's like introduction to death.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got. From there, you got the introduction of the maid, and you can see things are a little off with her, and then obviously how her story ends is heartbreaking. But and this whole time, it's all because of how close they are to these Indian burial grounds, and the spirit of the Wendigo is telling them to do these things, and I like how they handled the Wendigo situation in this movie. You don't get to see it, which is a little. I guess upsetting, but the sounds you hear and one like when the scene when Judd they're engaged is going over to Judd's house. When you go into that room that Judd ends up meeting his demise, there's a Wendigo statue on the mantle. So like it's never like you never get to see the actual Wendigo, but I think they handle it in a cool way. Like the sounds that you hear, the screeching and the animalistic sounds that you hear when you're in the pet cemetery or when they're going in, I think those are all like super unsettling, and they let you know that something's out there.
Yeah, definitely.
But you never get to see it, which is so. But I think probably due to budgetary things, it's probably easier to do what they did, and I think they did it well.
Yeah, definitely.
Continuing with the good, I love the Pascal stuff.
Yeah.
That's like the first scene where like shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Because you got,
There's so much of that in the book, though, that I really like that. That was in the beginning of the book.
He's rushed in and the blood's pouring out, which, by the way, the practical effects look great.
Yeah.
And from there, you get the dream sequences with his head all messed up. But you get from there, you get the dream sequences. And Pascal, I mean, once again, the practical effects look great there when
Yeah.
And those dream sequences are scary.
Yeah. Definitely.
If I had a dream like that, I'd probably wake up screaming. I mean,
woke up with muddy feet.
Yeah, I'd be really worried if I woke up with muddy feet. But I love everything about the Pascal storyline and how Pascal ends up reaching out to Ellie to kind of try to, through the dream world to.
He tried, but it wasn't very successful.
No, unfortunately. Needed him to be.
Yeah.
Another thing that really scares me in this movie is the whole Zelda storyline.
Oh, yeah, that was really scary when I was in high school.
Yeah.
She's probably what I had nightmares about, honestly.
Yeah.
Of everything, just.
Like the dumbwaiter scene.
Yeah.
When she comes down and she's all pretzelfied. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then.
She was scary.
The other scene we get of her too, when Gage is formed into her up in Judd's room.
Yeah.
When Rachel goes up there and she like does her little run at her, I'm like, nope, I'm running the other way and across the street. But yeah, Zelda's and Zelda was played by like Andrew Mustabek, but it was a guy.
Yeah. And
because I was watching that video and he was like, yeah, just to find out that he probably has the upper body strength of this body. Like, he was just talking about like that makes it more unsettling because you don't realize like. They do a really good job with makeup and everything.
Yeah. And
the voice is really good too. Like you wouldn't have never guessed.
Yeah.
But Zelda is definitely nightmare fuel. In this movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's nothing like super jump scare. Like that's probably the biggest jump scare you get is the dumbwaiter.
Yeah.
But it's like just the tension and the unsettling and the unnerving. Like Zelda's just an unnerving character. And Rachel, like, oh. If somebody made like an AI version of them saying Willis, I'd probably cry. But yeah, it's good though. And then I mean, I don't like putting it in the good because it's really sad, but how we come full circle with the trucks, and that's what leads to Gage, and that's what sends Lewis into a spiral. I mean, it's good too because there's a lot of foreshadowing in the movie that I noticed this time around. Like the box when they're moving in says trucks and toys Gage, and then when he's pushing the toy truck, he runs into a box.
Yeah,
and like so, there's a lot of foreshadowing with it. It's a red truck, but that's a scene that's just always been gut wrenching when I've watched this movie because, I mean, when I first watched this,
he just had a little scar across his forehead.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I first watched this movie, I had little siblings, and now I still have little siblings, and so like when I'm watching this, and now I have nephews too. So when I'm watching this, I'm like, it just that scene always is a little much.
The first time I watched it was in high school, and we watched it at home, and I think my dad and I had both read the book. I know I did, but I'm pretty sure I got it from him. Mm-hmm. And my mom like stormed out of the room yelling at us because she's like, "You knew that was gonna happen."
Yeah.
And with my little brother, and I'm sure Gage reminded her a lot of Nick, so
yeah,
she was not pleased. And as a mother now, I'm like, oh well, I can see that. Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah.
But worse than that was like the scene where Lewis had to kill him again.
Oh yeah.
And the way he cried, I actually cried this time around.
Yeah.
I was like, I did not cry when I watched it in high school, but I actually cried at that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene, the whole third act I'd put in the good, cause the whole like hunting of Judd scene is also just so like unsettling. I keep using that word, but that's what this movie is. It's like you're just always on the edge of your seat, like waiting for what's next. But when they use Church to distract him, and then you get the slice of the Achilles tendon, and like they could have sliced anything else. It's slicing the Achilles is like that put it over the top. You know what I mean? And then he obviously kills Judd with the neck bite. But then from there, that's when you've got Rachel comes over and the Zelda interaction, and then Lewis comes over, and the putting the poison in his neck and the baby cry, and then he like stumbles backward, not fair, and hits his head. Somebody was like, yeah, they did everything they could to make sure that this baby, felt comfortable and nothing hurt. And then he trips and hits the door, and he's like, well, that looked like it hurt. I was like, yeah, it did. But no, that's once again Miko Hughes. I mean, Miko Hughes is really young in this movie too. Yeah. Like I think of New Nightmare, and in New Nightmare that came out 5 years after this, so he was still young, but God, he had to have been 2 or 3 in this movie.
It's crazy.
And you would to be able to act like that at 2 or 3, that blows my mind.
I'm sure he didn't have nightmares his whole life.
Yeah, he's in New Nightmare and Pet Sematary. I mean, he probably has never had a pet. But that's just, I love when there's a really good child performance, because they don't have the schooling or the training or anything like that like an adult actor might have, and so like it's just that much more impressive when a child performance is as good as this one was. And I thought Ellie was great too. For most of this movie, you feel like she's the main character, and then post Crash, it really takes over as Gage's storyline, because Ellie's over with the in-laws, which the funeral scene's another one that I'd throw in the good. It's just, it shows what loss and heartbreak can do to people.
Definitely.
And so that's another good scene. It's a hard scene to throw in there because you don't want anyone to ever do that at a funeral. But I mean, I had a funeral last year where family members started getting into it. It's just, it's the toughness of loss brings out the worst. And so definitely a good scene, and Stephen King also leading the funeral. I don't know if it was true or not. I think Emilio Estevez was originally supposed to play as like an Easter egg. I thought I saw that somewhere. Like he was supposed to be the original priest or whatever that character's title is for that funeral, but Stephen King ended up taking over the role for his little cameo that he likes to make in his movies, which I mean is fair. If you're making a movie about my books, I'd like to at least be like the waiter at Denny's, So, But yeah, just a lot of good. I think throughout, there's really not a scene I would take out of this movie. From the beginning to the end, I feel like it's just a very cohesive story.
Yeah, they came together well.
Yeah, it's eerie. I love the score in this movie as well, especially that opening, the Pet Sematary is the name of the track, but and the soundtrack, like the music we get into. We get the Ramones' Pet Sematary, which might be one of my favorite like songs written for a movie.
Yeah.
Like the, I don't want to be buried. I still listen to that song like just randomly. Like,
it's a good song.
Love the Ramones. But that was a cool little connection too, because in the book, Lewis is always singing "Hey Ho, Let's Go," which is Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones. So that's why they sought after the Ramones to do that song, which was another just really cool, like, little Easter egg, a little fun fact to throw in that movie. There's a lot of them hidden in this movie, which is pretty cool to me, because that's always fun, when you're connecting things that may not actually have a point in connecting. But
I just watched. Yeah, no, it was a good movie.
Good set design.
Oddly.
I like the set design a lot. Like the cemetery obviously is like the attention to detail is insane with like there was a lot of too, like I was watching a video on some of the Easter eggs, and a lot of the like cemetery signs were like exact to the book, which is really cool too. And then the houses I thought looked cool with the road in between them. But I thought it all looked good. I think that might be it for me in the good though. So I don't know if I have anything in that. I don't have anything in the bad, but I'm trying to think if I have anything in the mad.
I mean,
we can hop.
I felt like Lewis ran a far, far distance to not catch his kid.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was sprinting forever.
Yeah.
I never noticed that back in the day, but I was like, oh, come on, the little kid didn't run that far.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But that obviously added to the dramatic.
For sure. I don't know. Like, I was gonna say, like, you'd like to think that Lewis would learn his, learn from his mistakes.
Yeah, I think after
too, but
I can't.
I think it's
speak
also
for anyone like that in that situation. But
I was gonna say it's also loss bringing out.
Yeah.
If you could, that's the thing. Like, if I asked you right now, would you bury me in the Pet Cemetery if it meant bring me back? You can't answer that because right now we're in the right headspace. Like, you're like, oh, no, I wouldn't. But in that moment when you're like, I lose Loki or I lose a loved one, I'm like, I don't know what my mind's...
Definitely burying him in the Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, I don't know what my headspace will be like. I might be like, yeah, even though I know there's a 99% chance they come back as a deranged zombie, I get them back, But... So it's definitely that's what's so cool about this movie, and I guess we're still in the good, I guess, but it's just a cool concept of a movie. Yeah. Bury these people and they come back, but they don't come back who they were. I don't know. It's always been a cool movie to me. Mm-hmm. But so I guess we can hop over to our final thoughts and ratings. What do you want to leave off with Pet Sematary, and what do you give it out of 10?
7.5.
7.5?
Yeah.
Okay. I love this movie.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go 9 out of 10.
All right.
This has always been a movie that has always had a special place to me. From when you showed it to me to me showing it to Rosie. I think Rosie likes this movie a lot too.
Showing her kids.
Yeah.
I did turn it off for June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get to it one day, June.
But it was the part with the sister, so I was like, yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah. Oh, the Zelda stuff.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be dreaming about Zelda tonight.
No, that's the scariest part of the movie. But no, it's to me one of those classics that stands the time. It's one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. But yeah, Pet Sematary, great movie. That'll do it for Pet Sematary. Mama, thank you for coming on. Happy Mother's Day.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. As always, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.